Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I created Magic and Miracles in order to help people of all walks of life all around the world achieve their manifestation goals and dreams. True story. All the information from me is below. I have been a coach 10 years total, 3 years on YouTube now. My predecessor channel is linked below. I had to leave that channel behind, fortunately, is how I think of it today, because it developed technological issues due to hater bombardment. But I'm really happy that it happened this way. And I'm going to talk about something today that will empower you. I really hope so. And it's a very unusual channeled message, but I've been kind of procrastinating channeling it. And yet the energy is here and it wants me to channel. So I'm going to channel it. It's for somebody. I know this for sure. So everything happens for a reason. This is a new channel. Lots of really powerful energy is built into it. I did the energy work, which I teach in coaching on it, and I'm really happy that we're all here. There's a reason why we're all here. So big thumbs up and big subscribe. If you're new, you're going to learn a lot on this channel. And please, by all means, check out my previous material. However, I do very much think that what I'm recording for this channel right here is the best I've done thus far. This is what resonates with me now, obviously, and of course, because I'm channeling it as I'm channeling in my coaching as well as for my channel. But, this is what I am definitely inspired to channel for you guys. But nevertheless, get to know my personality, especially if you're thinking about coming into coaching with me. I'm very honest, very pure, very direct in that sense. That's my personality, has always been my personality since childhood. And you really don't want me to be another way. Okay, there's plethora of coaches available, as you probably know, as you probably have been in their coaching already, who are really surface level people themselves, and therefore their coaching is really surface level. And they're not really doing the job that they're really supposed to with the surface level approach. You really need the deep dive. You really need to get down and dirty, as it were, to really find out why is it that you're still struggling in your manifestation. And this is why my direct, ever so elegant, but direct and honest approach really works, because the truth shall really set you free. I mean, when you know where you are and why you are there, it becomes really easy to understand what you need to do next. Now, whether you'll do that, that's another story altogether, but that you need to be aware of why you are where you are, and, that you are in that place. Sometimes people even are under the impression, again, due to all the plethora of superficial coaches out there, that they can just disregard their feelings or what's around them. And that, to a certain extent, is true, but everything can be misinterpreted. I think delusion should be applied in a healthy manner, not rejecting yourself, not rejecting your emotions, but rather getting to know yourself. You only have yourself to work with, my darling loves. You have to get to know that person. You really owe it to this person with all your mama drama panorama that has happened up until today, which is what we discuss in my coaching in minute details. I'm very profoundly and profusely interested in what you have to say. That's another difference between me and other coaches. Not for nothing. I'm just speaking the truth as usual. Why? Because that really paints a picture for me and simultaneously for you. There's something about, it's not like you don't know yourself. It's not that. But when you're speaking about certain things and rediscovering yourself in that sense, like, there's a lot of clarity in that. And there's a lot of, again, rediscovery of why you are where you are and what you can do about. So, in talking about everything that happened thus far, your belief system is quite frankly revealed to me. And that's really important for me to know what I'm working with so that I can redirect you and rework your belief system with you in a very effective manner without straining, without trying to believe things that are unbelievable to you, quite frankly, and really customizing the process around you, around what it is you need. So, all the while, there's a structure to my coaching process. I very much address your immediate needs, whether that's SP, money, what have you. I will give you exercises. I teach energy work, as I've mentioned, and no coach on planet Earth teaches it the way that I do. I've done my research. Maybe they still call it energy work, but it's entirely something else. The way that I teach energy work, it's basically geared to give you your results no matter what, every single time. Now, of course, that requires consistency, and of course, that requires you being a clean slate, i.e., being free of the mama drama panorama, all the old energies that need to be cleansed out. And this is what we do in coaching by processing emotions that really keep you stuck in the parallel timeline which you occupy today. All right. To be in my coaching, you need to book a 1 hour session first, just to make sure we resonate with each other, that we can work well with each other, that this is definitely worth your investment. I recommend 2 to 3 months in coaching with me via the signature coaching package. You also have the option of installments, the installment payments. And that is something you can do with a firm or Klarna. There's a link on my website underneath every single package, which you book again after the first session is completed. Now, from what I understand, and again, this is the feedback that my clients give me, it's a lot more advantageous to book more than 1 month at a time because you get a better deal. So let's just say you decide that it's 2 months or 3 months that you want to purchase altogether after speaking with me and listening to my suggestions. It's a better deal vis-a-vis installments to get all 3 months together rather than purchasing it 1 month to another. Okay, that's the feedback I have. And it's a really kind of strong feedback. So I'm communicating it to everybody who might need the installment payment agreement. If you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. My email is below. So the topic of today is manifesting while grieving. Okay, and again, it's a really unusual topic for me, but I feel inspired to do this. And, I'm not a psychic in that sense. Like, I'm not, that's not how I advertise myself. What I do in my personal life and what I teach people essentially in their own lives to do is to be able to tap into the quantum field and find any information that is purposeful to you, to protect yourself, to tap into people's thoughts. I mean, whether that's your SP or whomever, in a benevolent way, right? So you can exercise your power always in a benevolent way or not in a benevolent way. I always urge my listeners and clients alike to please be considerate, not just towards others, but to yourself, obviously. And of course, at the end of the day, it's your karma. There's good karma, but there's also really bad karma. So be mindful of that, okay, when you're using these abilities. But in essence, the energy I'm getting, and again, I know for a fact as I'm recording this, I'm connecting with some kind of a female energy, an older female energy. And I know it's not my grandmother. So it's somebody else who passed on. Again, so weird for me to say this, who wants to communicate this to somebody, very, very powerful and very strongly. Okay. So this could be like a mother figure, or maybe it's like, I don't know, a grandmother again, or something like that. Okay. And this person right now, I'm feeling their energy again, not a psychic, just tapping in. And the energy is of complete devastation. And so maybe this is, it resonates with this person, that they will hear it on my channel, or maybe with many other different people. And again, it doesn't have to be literal death of somebody. Grieving can take many different forms. You can be grieving the time that you lost, in regret, or being critical of yourself, or maybe you feel like a lot of time has been wasted on things that you would rather have not done. I mean, there's different kinds of regrets, but I'm more going to speak to, like, if somebody passed on and you're really grieving right now and you still want to really, like, not lose track of your manifestation power and really stay put. And I'm going to describe what I did excuse me, when my maternal grandmother passed on almost 10 years ago now. And she also been on my mind quite powerfully lately, in a very powerful way. I especially describe my connection with her in the timeline jump audio that I recorded, not the last audio before that, but the one previous to that. And so here's what I did, and here's what I would have done differently. Okay. Because remember that that's almost 10 years ago. That's like my entire time of being a coaching. So, being a coach, rather. And so in the beginning, I might not have had everything dialed in. So this is what I would do in essence. This is what I would do now. So I feel like the number one thing with me and my maternal grandmother was that she was so stoic and so freaking strong, like the strongest person I know. It's not like she didn't have any fucking problems. I mean, I've discussed her at length. She lived in Siberia, really kind of in poverty and all of that jazz. And I didn't understand a lot of things, about her struggles until, I mean, when I was already an adult, and some things when she passed on, but she refused to go to doctors because she hated doctors. She just wanted to live her happy life. She was very upbeat, kind of like a self-motivator, kind of situation, very strong spirit. And she knew that something was wrong. That's what I found out later, but essentially she just didn't care. She was in her 80s, so she felt like, she lived out her time. And essentially, they did end up finding something because she ended up going to the emergency room and ended up passing away. Now, I didn't know any of this. I just knew that I, at that time, was in between, I was in between things, shall we say. I was changing my own life with becoming a coach and moving apartments at the time, et cetera, et cetera. And nobody told me this. And so for me, it was really difficult to suddenly learn she passed on because I never got to say goodbye. So that was an extra kind of situation because not only was she my favorite person, but then on top of it, not to be able to say goodbye, that really kind of drove me a little bit bananas. I'm not going to lie. I just could not forgive myself for some time there of not somehow knowing, that this was going to be our last conversation, that, I should have paid attention more. But the fact is, okay, here's what I really want to say. When somebody passes away, especially so suddenly, number one, everybody makes agreements with you. Anybody who was in your life, anybody, okay? Even your dogs, even your pets, even whomever, okay? Your lovers, even, it could be your SP. You've made agreements with those souls. And at some point, the curtain must fall. In other words, at some point, the actor has played their role and nothing is by chance. They left when they were supposed to leave. And it isn't personal. It isn't that, you understand, it is nothing you could have done differently, in other words. So I feel like the first order of business is to really start letting up on yourself, in that this happened exactly as it was supposed to happen. Stop trying to think of things and driving yourself crazy about, I should have said more I love yous, or I should have gave you a tighter hug, or I should have visited you more. Like, it happened how it fucking happened. There's you driving yourself crazy, and really kind of like just butchering yourself with these kinds of like regret. This is really painful. You're not doing anybody a service, much less this person who passed on. Okay. And on the other side, they know that, you know what I mean? This is a rough situation, this earth situation, from the mental capacity of a human. It feels, yes, it feels really discombobulating. Like one minute this person is alive and the next minute they're not. Like what the fuck just happened? And it's normal and natural that all the regret rushes forward and you start thinking a million things, driving yourself crazy. Understand, I'm here to tell you because I've gotten dreams and confirmations galore. Okay, and I'm still she's on my spirit squad, don't you know? I'm super fucking fortunate and lucky, and I know this for a fact. I mean, I just know it for a fact, okay? The morning she passed on, just parenthesis here, I didn't know yet. Okay, nobody has told me yet. It was kind of like maybe I had a couple of hours before I found out. But the morning I woke up, I sensed like she had this like special scent about her, not of perfume, but just the way that she smelled, if that makes any sense. Not gross or anything, but you know, everybody has their special scent. The way that like you can recognize that's my grandmother. This is how she smells, and it was all around me. It was so weird but so like comforting in a way. And I just brushed it off like, well, that happens once in a while, because it did. It used to happen to me once in a while. But that person, they knew, like they have a constant connection to you, and they knew that they were going to pass. And maybe, not maybe, for shit, sure, universe is so genius in its orchestration of even the departure of your loved ones, that it doesn't want to make it so fucking hard on you. It wants to make it as less painful as possible for you. So sometimes there's certain things that won't be communicated to you right away, okay? Because you can only take so much as a human being, again, with your mind, with your heart, with your human kind of even body. That much information could be really like discombobulating. And again, you need to function, right? You need to get up, go to work, do whatever you do. You still need to be on purpose in this life. And your higher self and your guardian angels, they're very much fucking aware of this. So there will be times in certain situations where not everything will be revealed. So just understand everything is an orchestration. Them departing at that moment is an orchestration. How they departed is an orchestration because that's what they requested. So you don't fucking argue. Have some respect that the soul wanted to go. They had a choice. Everybody always has a choice, right? Just like you have a choice to manifest whatever it is you please, the soul, everybody, okay, on this planet, including animals, okay, they have a choice. Like, I want to get the fuck out of here. I've had enough of this situation. I want to go to another situation. And by the way, it doesn't mean that, you know, like the next lifetime will be in the future, the so-called future. You get to do whatever. And so have some respect, in other words. Like, this soul, they wanted to exit at this time. You're nobody to dictate, you know, what they should or should not have done. In other words, like when you look at it from this perspective, you being a little bit egotistical and selfish as to say like, oh, I wish we had more time. Well, they didn't want to stick around for a longer time. So how you like me now kind of situation. And this, honestly, I'm telling this to you now with such ease. It took me forever to understand. It felt like for a few years at least, where I just stop wishing for anything to have been different. It was what it was. I would rather, and I would suggest what you do, and I'm going to get into other things, just focus on the magnificent and amazing memories with this person. Focus on the fact that this person came into your life and had such an amazing impact. Focus on the things that were so tremendous and how lucky you are. Okay. And if you're lucky enough like me, I don't actually think it's luck. It's just, it was a request. Okay. It was a vibrational request long before she departed, my grandmother, that is, where, there wasn't even a question in my mind that I wanted her on my spirit squad. So she agreed. Obvious, we have this connection. I mean, you're gonna know, depending on your situation, who you have this connection with. But the thing is, focus on the positive, that they're now on your team. Ask for that. Hey, can you be my guardian angel? Can you join me on my spirit squad? And believe me, no matter what kind of fucking relationship you had with this person when they were alive, you're going to have a totally amazing, unparalleled, multidimensional, completely magical relationship with them when they pass away. And you're going to say to me, which I know a lot of people might say, and I said the same thing, all right, when my grandma passed. Yeah, oh, that's great. But you know what? I want her in the physical. I want to hear her voice. There is that. Certainly, there is this thing of physicality that people struggle with. But what comes with the relationship with the non-physical, and the non-physical, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The non-physical has a lot more to give you than the person could in their physicality. In other words, they can literally create miracles for you. Now, I don't mean to say it like, again, don't be, it's not about being egotistical. In other words, it's not about, oh, what can you do for me? No, it's not like that at all. It's the kind of conversations you now have with this person. Because this person is no longer just limited by their human experience here on planet Earth, or, the role that they played, or the perhaps the mental capacity or whatever. They are literally up there with God, if you want to say it like that, up there with the universe. They are a completely different being. Like, they are everything that you remember them to be, and so much more. Like, so much more. It will blow your motherfucking mind. It's impossible to put into words, other than kind of like spiritual royalty, if you will. Like, again, it barely scratches the surface of kind of like the magnitude of the kind of things that, especially when the person, again, and you have such a deep connection. Again, I'm only coming off of my experience. It might resonate, it might not. But again, I'm here for the people who it will resonate with. Your relationship will skyrocket in such a way where if you summon them, they're there. No, you can't see them, but you can telepathically connect to them and have such deep conversations with such insights that are 100% on point. But 100% on point, 100% on point. And then people will say, oh, how did you know this? Or you must be psychic, or puchu. No, I have a great squad, spiritual squad team that is unfucking paralleled. You see, of course, parenthesis here, you can only summon these kinds of energies whilst you're being in resonance with it yourself, at least trying to. Okay. But I coach, amazing people. I'm so freaking fortunate and grateful that even on YouTube, but well, why do I say even? I didn't know what to expect. But off YouTube, definitely my experience has been phenomenal, coaching all sorts of people in the entertainment industry, and some of them are well known. But on YouTube, I've met people of all walks of life who are just absolutely spectacular. And so you will I know you will have had, you will have your stories, because I've had sessions with you and you've told me about your experiences. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. You are more tapped in than you realize. Use, and I really mean in the most benevolent sense of the word, not in an egotistical sense, but use this transition of this loved one as a positive thing only, because that's the only way they see it on the other side. Whenever I would talk to people, like immediately after she passed, my grandmother is, and I would tell people, yeah, my grandmother, she died, and da 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 da. And then my grandma would come to me in my dreams, all fabulous looking, by the way. She looked like an aging Marilyn Monroe. Like, she was fucking fabulous with the rollers. I mean, just totally fabulous, aging, but still fabulous. And she would appear in my dreams. They always look younger, don't you know, in some fabulous dimension they are, and like totally having a lot of fun. And she would show up and she would be like, Anna, what the fuck? Why are you telling people that I'm dead? I was like, I'm sorry. She's like, I'm very much alive. You see me. This is not a dream. This is another dimension. Stop fucking saying that I'm dead. To them, they're not dead. There is no such thing as death. What can I tell you? Okay. There is an experience of falling asleep and seeing this dream from the other side, but you're never dead. You yourself, once you depart this existence, you don't become dead, you become more alive. So, this is how you would think of these things. This is how you would change it in your mind, even though I completely understand it's very difficult to do, which is why, listen, I offer coaching for all sorts of reasons. SP is not the only department, obviously. It's all encompassing, to empower you to think in ways that are actually helpful to you, not to lie to yourself, not to be delusional in a negative sense, but to actually understand how the universe works. Okay? The universe is 100% on your side, and the dearly departed in your life are so 100% on your side. They don't want you to mourn them. Now, I know, again, for your human mind, it's going to be like so fucking difficult to digest, but that's the truth. They want you to celebrate their life. They want you to celebrate the memories. They want you to celebrate the good that existed between the two of you. That little episode of death, and maybe even if it dragged on, let's just say maybe they were ill for some time, etc., all that jazz, that is minuscule compared to everything else. Okay, that they gave you the memory, the light, that being that came to illuminate your life and make it better and transform you as a soul. This is what you should focus on. Like, how privileged was I to have met you in this earthly experience? How privileged am I to know you as a being, soul to soul, fucking period? Okay. That's what you should take away from this experience, and totally, yes, totally use it to your benefit completely. How can we have a better relationship now that you've passed on? It's not going to happen if I'm grieving, because it's not the truth of the situation. You haven't gone anywhere. You just transformed. You went on to do greater things. I should be happy for you. I should be happy you're not in pain if you were in pain before you passed on. I should be happy that you're moving on to greater, bigger things, which obviously you wanted for yourself, because you're so decided and made a decision. I'm out. I'm out of here. That's it. I've had it. Okay. So the few things that I did after kind of everything I'm telling you, it took me, a few years to really kind of hone in on, because I understand it's difficult. I really, really, really do. So the couple of things that I did, and a couple of things that I wish I did. Now, truth be told, I completely lost it. I really cried my eyes out for like a week straight when my grandma passed. And, at that moment in time, a lot of other things have been happening. And, I'm not going to get into it now. It's a very long story. So it was just kind of like, I felt like it was just an add-on in addition to everything that was changing. And, I let myself go a little bit there. My face was so swollen. I stopped functioning for like a week. Okay. And here's what I would do differently. All right. I would definitely focus on having some, self-care. So in other words, like if you need to go to a sauna, if you need to go get a massage, if you need to stay in bed, okay, and cry, do that. However, and this is a big however, and this is going to help you again to function, but also to feel better, to process the grief and not lose yourself, in this emotion, really heavy duty emotion of regret mostly, right? Because if you break it down, you're regretting something. I wish things were different. I wish that didn't happen, tupatu. But again, as I've mentioned in the beginning, if you understand this was set up from the very beginning, you will start letting go of wishing things were different. And so the number one thing that I would definitely suggest, and that I didn't do in the beginning, but that I ended up doing because I just pulled myself out of it. Okay. I mean, there was just no other way. You need to do something every single day that represents that you're functioning. Okay. Really, just anything. Whether that's, you go and take a shower, brush your teeth, whether that's you go cook a lunch for yourself, or go out with friends, or if you don't want to see anybody, that's fine too. But do something throughout your day. Maybe you don't work for a week, you take a break like I did, or maybe longer, but don't make it longer than it really needs to be. Continue doing things throughout your day that you used to do. Okay. Your loved one does not want you to stop in your tracks and just completely freeze. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help them. It's not going to help the relationship between you and them. Okay. It's not helpful at all. In order to not lose yourself, you need to continue your routine to the best of your ability. Maybe you don't do everything, but you do at least one thing. Okay. I would definitely also have some kind of a physical activity, like maybe it's gym, maybe it's Pilates, maybe it's just walking. Okay. Just really stimulating your body with fresh air, if it's outside, especially with exercise, just to, again, to keep the routine, but also to keep your body and mind healthy. Exercise is really good for your mental health, to keep yourself active and not to dwell in this energy whilst you're processing your grief, you're processing these emotions. And I'm not saying to shove them down, not at all. You should cry, you should feel through things. You should journal. You should really discuss things, okay? And with them, talk to them, talk to your passed on loved one and get some clarity. And the other thing that I would say, that really quick parenthesis here, they don't want you to stay in grief because that's not the way to communicate with them. They're not on that fucking frequency, you understand? They're on the frequency of fucking bliss and euphoria. So if you're down here in grief and all this other stuff that, I understand and it's very human, you should process it by letting yourself feel it and letting yourself cry and all of these things. You should absolutely address that and really ask really sincere and honest and profound questions about why is it you feel the way that you do. Okay. It's not completely automatic and it's not completely, there isn't an assumption built in there. It will be individual. Why you feel particularly in the way that you do, why it's hard for you to understand that this is exactly, what should have transpired. And again, I've been in your position. I've been in a position of like, this should have never happened. The universe made a mistake. That's just not the truth of the situation. Okay. Once you accept that everything was supposed to have been this way, you open yourself up to continuing the relationship just on a higher ground. And on this level, you're able to telepathically connect with them. And they will give you so many wonderful, fabulous answers to not just your problems, but the reasons why they chose this and where they are now and what their experience is. And they'll come and visit you in your dreams. You'll feel their presence like in waking state. All right. Whenever you need something, they're right there. And again, their responses and their information, like let's just say you're working on something, you have a dilemma, they will give you the answer with 100% accuracy. But again, this is, you see, if you're still in the emotion of, I regret this shouldn't have been, be mindful of the kind of voices that come to you. In other words, in that state of regret and of grief, you might catch other voices that pretend to be your passed on loved one. I've had that happen, even in my dream. So in that sense, know what's God and what's the devil in that sense, know what's the pure energy and some kind of a polluted bullshit energy of your regret. Okay, even your regret has a voice, it very much does. And it could show up in your dreams impersonating your passed on loved one. I've had that happen as well. So be mindful what frequency you're on, all right? All that mumbo jumbo, these voices maybe that they will tell you you should have done better, you should have done more, tupatu, tupatu. Not true. Again, don't drive yourself crazy with the echoes of maybe your fears, regrets again, etc., etc. If you only knew the amount of love, the amount of acceptance, the amount of perfection, the amount of perfect orchestration on the other side, you would not spend 1 minute in regret. But again, I understand how hard that is to accept, even mentally, emotionally, but slowly I want to encourage you to focus on that, because that's how you'll continue interacting with this someone. And again, your relationship will be unmatched and unparalleled. Okay. It will supersede anything that you've experienced with them whilst they were in the physicality. And I think for me, very strongly, the message, because I did a lot of just inner thinking and contemplation, what that meant for me personally and what I should personally derive from this reminder when my grandma passed on, is that, first of all, I predicted her death. And that was another spooky situation that I kind of thought, shit, did I predict it? Did I manifest it? No, I just predicted it. I have this sense. I don't know again how. Well, I do know how. I meditate and by now I'm so tapped in. I kind of had a feeling, but I had a feeling for a couple of years, but I rejected that feeling because I didn't want to think about this fucking shit, obviously, okay? But it was already in the works, you understand? You're just tapping in what's already a probability beyond the shadow of the doubt, okay, kind of situation. Even though nothing on the surface can show you and confirm it, you already kind of sense that, okay? But on this earthly level, it was a reminder of how short-lived this terrestrial experience really fucking is. Again, 1 minute they're here, 1 minute, and the next they're gone. And the same is for you, darling. This is what the reminder was for me personally, in a very acute manner. I was reminded I don't have forever. Nobody fucking does have forever on this earthly plane. Okay. And Earth is a place where, like, you should really be very fucking interested in graduating the school with flying colors so as not to come back to, like, nobody wants to come back to Earth because it's the hardest school. I mean, everybody knows this. Okay. You wouldn't believe, or maybe you have the same experiences, the kind of flabbergasting, amazing, magical stuff that's happening in other dimensions, plural. This is the hardest place to be in, but once you graduate, it's kind of like you went to Harvard, okay, or Juilliard or something, someplace like that, Yale. And because of this acute awareness of, like, I don't have forever, I became so much more determined with everything. It's like, literally, I don't have time. I don't have time for drama. I don't have time to hold on to regrets and resentment. I don't have time for bullshit. I have time for productivity. I have time for fabulous new experiences. I have time for gratitude, appreciation, really, taking care of myself and doing the most with what I have here going on in my earthly life. I mean, but it focuses you, at least that's what it produced in me. At any moment, things can change. Let's appreciate what we have right here, right now. Because what we have right here, right now is precious, but it's also really fucking amazing. And for me, that the appreciation, like, it kind of, I know now that she was guiding me, telepathically, my grandma was, to appreciate things more. And I really, like, I thought I knew what gratitude was before then. I knew nothing about gratitude before then. I really just, I don't know how it happened, but again, through downloads and through telepathic communication with my grandmother, I really became another person, as it were, like a much more Humble, grateful, focused, determined, even more hardworking. No need, no time, no need for drama. I'm only focused on the result of what I'm here to accomplish. And that really kind of zeroed me in on my mission, my purpose. What can I do in this lifetime in order to, yeah, of course, benefit myself, but benefit others whilst I'm here? The meaning, the money that you're gonna make, all the material stuff and the houses and the this and the cars, that's nice. But all of a sudden, like this download, this really profound knowing came over me. None of this you're going to be able to take with you when you pass away. The only thing that you can take away with you, it's the relationships that you have with other people. It's the kind of energy you share, the kind of impact that you've had on other people. The kind of things that you produce. Did you benefit anybody, or was it all about you? You understand? Because believe me, on the other side, and I'm not saying this to scare anybody, it's just what happens. And I know you're intelligent people here. You read a book or two and definitely had your own experiences. On the other side, you go through a review of your life. And if you fucked anybody over or you did something, there's price to pay. There's a price to pay. You go you go to another department where you earn that shit back. Okay, or you go forward into another very difficult situation to kind of pay the price. So it's like you're never kind of like, it's never wiped clean. Like, you know what I mean? Some people, malicious people, think that they can get away with shit. Like, you might get away with it, not really though, because karma will catch your ass. And then on the other side, you will pay for that shit. You will, 100% of the time. It will not be the Garden of Eden that's going to be waiting for you. No, no, no. I'm so sorry to break it to. Like, people call it the Garden of Eden, especially the religious people. It's very much like the Garden of Eden, but it's just, it's a place of euphoria and peace and happiness. And I've been there like many, 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 many different times. That's the only place you want to go to. There are other places that I've never been in, but that I definitely heard accounts of that are, quite frankly, rather spooky. That some people, they again think that they can get away with certain shit, and they really just don't. They really just don't. So I don't know your story. You know your story. Maybe this person with their passing is reminding you, hey, be a better person, be a better version of yourself. Doesn't mean that necessarily, again, my crowd over here is 99.99% benevolent and fantabulous. But that means don't procrastinate. Take action on bettering your life. Do that thing that you need to do. Create that project. Shoot that movie. Shoot that campaign for Vogue. I don't know, whatever. Write that book. You don't have forever, darling. Tomorrow never comes, like it's like that Bond movie. Is it? I don't know. It sounds like it. Tomorrow never comes. It's never mañana, mañana, tomorrow, tomorrow. No, no. Today. Today is the day. And that's what the passing of my grandma especially gave me this. I have to do as much. Now, don't, overwork yourself or don't like go crazy, but do each day as much as you can. Because remember, tomorrow is just not guaranteed for anybody. Who are you saving up this magic for? The magic is happening right now. So in effect, like becoming so acutely aware, I better appreciate this moment here right now. It will never repeat itself again in that sense. I better appreciate everything about my life right now. And I better get to work to start making my dreams and goals come true. Just like I say in the beginning, this is your mission here. Live your mission out. If anything, the passing of my grandma, my maternal grandma, encouraged me to do more, to be more, to do more for others, to definitely become less about my own stuff. And it doesn't mean that, what I mean by that is not to complain. not to take offense, not to get carried away with some kind of bullshit, not worth my fucking time. It's not about my ego, it's about my soul, you see, kind of situation. That's what I mean, not about me. It's not about me. What I know is that I have the divine connection to my higher self, and this is what I'm here to basically work on, to be. I'm here to be love, I'm here to be euphoria. Everything else is out the motherfucking window. If I live my life like this, that I am definitely inspired and on the right path, and I'm headed in the right direction, like the life universe at large will take care of me. And given that my maternal grandma, as in my example, is on my spirit squad, I couldn't be happier, you see. So you create an empowering idea around, yes, even around this event that on its face, on the surface, seems very negative, seems even devastating. It's all how you look at it, and the way the universe is looking at it is completely differently than you might right now. Praise the gift that this connection between you and this person gave you for eternity. You can't take it away. You completely 100% quantum entangled with this person for eternity. So, in addition to definitely functioning and not letting yourself get carried away with sadness, all the while definitely allowing yourself to process your emotions. I mean, the human part of you is just going to have to deal with it. And again, if it's crying, let yourself cry. If you want to stay in bed, let yourself stay in bed, okay? At the same time, though, I would highly and strongly suggest, now that this happened, what kind of person do I want to become? Now that this happened, how am I going to choose to live my life more fully, more freely? What kind of A game am I bringing to the table now? All right. And even if it's really making peace with this transition, and that's the part maybe that in this earthly experience, in this earthly school, you need to work out that death is not the end, that this is not abandonment, that you've done nothing wrong in that sense, and there was nothing else that you could do. Maybe that very thing right here is something that you need to once and for all work out to elevate to a higher understanding and a higher level of consciousness, and therefore manifesting in a higher way. In other words, if the way you understand this event is empowerment only for you and for the other person, okay, then the kind of ideas and deductions from this event that you will derive will only be beneficial, and you will not stay in grief as long as you might if you do not do this work in this way, if you don't process it with this kind of understanding of what's really going on versus your human surface level perception, if that makes any sense. If you take this stance, you will get confirmations. I got confirmations galore once I decided to view it this way with my grandmother. Oh my God. Confirmation galore is the understatement of the century. You know, I have my agreed upon signs with her in particular, the number sequences, etc. There's certain items, like I've discussed, the tree that I saw in the timeline jump audio. Mountain ash is the name in English, really strange name. In it's a tree with bright orange kind of clusters of berries, and you know that's symbolic for my grandma because when I was growing up, that's what she had in her yard. There's literal things that will show up in your reality as a confirmation, like you're on the right track here. You're thinking in the right way. And then the conversation begins with this person in another way, on another motherfucking level that you could have never fished yourself out of while staying in grief, being completely blocked. And again, I want to empower you even through this process, because I don't want you to be cut off from manifestation even through this process. And again, in the most benevolent sense, use even this process to become a higher version of yourself, to reach for a higher understanding. Being in grief will derail your manifestations long term if you're there. It's not what your loved one wanted for you, for sure not. Okay, for sure not. And that's not what you want for yourself. So when you start looking at this very situation with the eyes of your higher self, the universe at large, and certainly the other person's eyes, now that they have the full capacity picture on the other side, when you start really being who you are actually supposed to be, the golden Buddha that totally, transcends all time and space and really has a higher understanding, then you will have mastery of this situation, and your grief, it will not last that long. To me, grief is a misinterpretation of what's actually happening. And again, yes, the human side of you will be tempted to, again, maybe stay there, etc., etc. Feel sorry for yourself, really miss them, etc. All of these things are valid. You're being a human being. What I would suggest is that you do not dwell in it. Allow yourself to cry as much as you want and to feel all of these other things. But your destination and your intention is to ultimately see it from the point of view of the person who just passed on, which is that was their will. Again, the orchestration was perfect. You might as well get on the wagon together with them if you want to continue having a good relationship with them. Celebrate their life, celebrate this connection, celebrate this person, celebrate this soul. Okay, get inspired to do more, to be a better version of yourself, better person altogether. Okay, invest time in yourself and really start have this sense of urgency. We don't have forever, ladies and gentlemen. We just fucking do not. So then complaining and staying in lower frequencies, or holding a grudge and being angry and this and that, it just kind of goes out the window, does it not? Like, who the fuck has time for that? You might as well enjoy this experience on planet Earth and make the most out of it. And again, if your loved one, and I guarantee that the answer is yes, of course, if your loved one is anything like my grandmother and they care very much about you, there's nothing that you can ask them to do that they will not do. It's not possible seemingly in the physical, okay, but you're not dealing with the physical person anymore. Hello, good morning, how are you? You're dealing with a soul. And if they're on your spirit squad, holy shit, but they've been granted the level of angelhood, okay? They're an angel. And an angel has a lot of motherfucking power, like literally, okay? They can do anything for you. Like, as a for instance, and then we'll wrap up. Whenever I talk to my grandmother and I give her, basically what I need help with, and I ask for her guidance, first of all, I never hear no because it's benevolent and always inspired. But I also have this like sense of peace, this sense of calm and peace comes over me every single time. Like, it's a done deal. It's taken care of. Forget it. Just forget about it. I have this certainty like no other. And I didn't start having this certainty actually until my grandmother passed. Now that I think about it, as I'm talking out loud, when I would ask for something, didn't have to be directly, directed towards my grandmother, but I would express, towards my angels. As a collective, I would address them, my angels. This is what I want, and this is my desire, and let's make this happen. They would immediately give me, and now I know, but it took me a couple of years, as I've mentioned, to realize that my grandma is also part of the, part of the team, part of the spirit squad. I would immediately feel this feeling of, it's done, Anna. Don't worry about it. Go have fun kind of situation. And the energy was so peaceful that I would be like, all right, and again, around me there may have been at the time other circumstances, but within me, this quiet still voice, this angelic voice was like, disregard everything you're seeing, disregard what this person is doing, disregard, just remember this angelic feeling in your heart, and this will pull you through, and you already have it. It's not like you're gonna get it. You already have it. Just ignore everything because you already have it, kind of situation. So this connection, this unparalleled and magnificent connection with the other side, with your guardian angels, with your passed on loved ones, is miraculous. It's nothing short of a miracle, really. Now listen, if you really have some regrets and you may have done something wrong by this person, apologize. Ask for forgiveness and say, I wish I didn't do this. I wish I didn't say that. Please forgive me. Now, parenthesis here, they already forgiven you before you even uttered that. The one you're actually forgiving is yourself. You should just know that. They love you unconditionally. They really, really fucking do. But do apologize. It matters that you acknowledge if there was anything that you could have done better, okay? Maybe not help them not pass away, but some when they were alive and maybe you didn't speak very nicely, maybe you did something, this and any other, apologize. It will be received and you will receive a confirmation of like, it's always don't worry about it. Because again, reality is the one that you're forgiving is yourself. But it matters that you acknowledge that if you did something wrong, you need to apologize. You don't even understand how much of a good time they're having on the other side. Okay? I just want to say this. Like when people have concerns, oh, are they okay? Are you joking? They're over there like drinking champagne and popping caviar, metaphorically speaking. They're not drinking over there. It's not that. But and not eating necessarily either. Although if they want to, they can. But it's so much fun to be on the other side and experience unexplainable things, like indescribable things that I'm lost for words, like the kind of beautiful things that you will experience on the other side. It can't even compare to this earthly experience. Really, really, really can't. They're having so much fun on the other side. Believe me, they're doing wonderfully, miraculously, just totally fabulously well. You, I'm sure, have your own experiences of having, dreams and lucid dreams and this, that, and the other. You have a taste of it, in other words. Now imagine that's your life completely. And on the other side, again, you guys are really intelligent audience. You know that, after the review of your life and all this jazz, you're being asked, hey, where do you want to go next? And sometimes if a person had a really kind of like, hard life or whatever, maybe a struggling life, boo, 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 they get to take a vacation. And you get to say, okay, I want a house like this, or I want an apartment. Usually it's a house. This is what the forest looks like that I want to live next to. It's all designed by you, and you get to just enjoy life completely until such time you're ready for the next mission. And, maybe another planet, maybe this planet, maybe whatever, depending on your situation. But the fact that they're having so much fun there, it's just beyond any description. I struggle. Like I said, I started because I can't even describe to you the colors, the the scenery, the quality of experience is just unparalleled. There are no words. There are no words in human language to describe just how amazing the life, if you want to say it like that, is on the other side. It's just indescribable. This is why when people have near-death experiences, they always say, oh, I didn't want to come back. Didn't want to come back for shit, but I had unfinished business. So you see, everything is always orchestrated. Nothing is by chance. It was time for this person to leave. This was the time. And yes, maybe in a parallel timeline, it was slightly, maybe a different month, maybe a different date here and there, but that was what it was. It was decided upon a long time ago. The best that you can do for yourself today in the situation is understand that it couldn't have been anything different, anything better, etc., etc. But what are you doing with this experience now? Are you using it again in the most benevolent sense of the word to empower you or to disempower you? And because believe me, your entire spirit team, your entire spiritual squad, including your passed on loved one, only wants the best for you, only wants to elevate you, only wants to see you shine, only wants you to see you transform in the most magical way and help you. And they're there to help you if you let them. Thank you very much for listening. I hope this was helpful. All the information from me again is below. Until next time, ciao, ciao.